I'm independent. You know it. You love it. You can't live without it. Rockland World Radio.
It's that time for Talk of the Town, heard on Rockland World Radio every Wednesday evening at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Now the hosts of Talk of the Town, Louis Spatz Dominici and Cynthia Paoli.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Talk of the Town. My name is Louis Spatz Dominici, also known as LSD. and this is my co-host,
Cynthia Hoover Paoli, and I'm Italian through injection.
Yes.
Proud of
it. Yes. Boy, I tell you, she just cracks me up every time I hear that. You're just the funniest woman I've ever known.
Oh, I don't know about that. I got a few favorites.
You do?
Yes. I have to talk to you. I've got to tell you about my idols. My idols, when I was growing up and I knew I wanted to do acting and singing and things like that. And I never really thought of myself as a serious actress because I used to love to make people laugh. And that was one of the things. I grew up with watching the Carol Burnett show.
Oh, well, acting doesn't necessarily have to be drama at all times.
No, the timing.
Yeah.
And between Carol Burnett, Harvey Korman, Vicki Lawrence, and Tim Conway, it's still to this day one of my favorite shows to watch. And I grew up on I Love Lucy.
I couldn't agree more. I mean, especially, Carol Burnett really modeled herself a lot after Lucille Ball with the
facial expressions
and
the situations she would get into.
Yeah, she wasn't afraid to take a beating. She wasn't afraid to black out her teeth. Like Lucille Ball, that was one of the most as glamorous as she was.
She was a beautiful woman. Oh my God.
The one thing that she enjoyed most on I Love Lucy was when she got a chance to black out her teeth.
Oh, I know. There's 3 or 4 actually episodes that I absolutely love. One of my favorite episodes is when Harpo Marx guest starred on.
Yeah.
And they mirrored each other.
Oh, that was hysterical.
Was absolute perfection. It doesn't get better than that. And of course the Vitamita Vegemin.
Oh.
I kind of sound like that after a few glasses.
This Biddle-Oddle.
Do you pop out at parties?
Yeah.
Well,
boy.
You pay me enough. Never mind.
Oh, boy. I got the cash.
And I love the one when they're in Italy and they make the wine.
Oh.
And oh my God, that's hysterical.
And
then the other one where she with William Holden and she sets her nose on fire.
Oh. You know something? It's amazing that you just said that because after I heard your last one, it didn't seem like you were going in that direction, but after I just heard that was going to be my favorite scene. The funniest scene in television history as far as I'm concerned. Nothing. And that was actually done accidentally.
Oh my God. See, the best thing sometimes.
She ad-libbed the whole thing.
That's fantastic. See, that's where I learned also that when you told me that just now, it reminded me back of when I take all these improv classes and things like that. The best acting class you can ever take in the entire world is living your life experience. You just you draw from that. You can't learn how to act. I'm sorry. You just you feel it or you don't. I mean,
right.
They say that acting is reacting, but that's human emotion too.
Yeah.
That's life. That's part of life, and you can't be the world's greatest actor or actress at the age of 4 or 10 because you haven't lived life enough to be able to actually reflect upon anything and to be objective. That's why a lot of casting directors will cast older people who look younger to play younger because they can look back and see. It's very hard to play yourself at your own age, like your own age, or like a younger person to play their own age. It's difficult.
Yeah. Well, I guess the perfect example of that was Steve McQueen in The Blob. I think he was 25 or so, and he's supposed to be in high school.
Was he ever 25?
Oh shit! Well,
But also, what reminds me of the one last thing that Lucille Ball did was where she bit into the wax fruit because she thought it was real.
at Mr. Mooney's well, Mr. Mooney, Gail Gordon's house. He was he was a television executive on that episode.
Oh God, that
which
was...
she wound up taking him over into
The Lucy
Lucy show,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
Here's Lucy. One is Mr. Mooney and one says Mr. Carter.
True.
And Vivian Vance, she brought her over as a Viv
Yeah.
on both of them, and
But I could see the influence of Lucille Ball that she had, and the other comedians like who else? God, there's another actress. She was very very funny in that era, the 40s and 50s and everything.
oh well, you got Imogene Coca.
Yes, Imogene, but also you could see the influences on the Carol Burnett show
Oh,
that they
yeah.
had and
Yeah.
everything like that. And then further on down the line with comedy, you could see a little bit, although it was kind of hard to get past her voice because it was so kind of drainy and nasal.
I know
but-
exactly who you're going to say.
Right, I'm talking about The Nanny, which was
Right,
hysterical.
Fran Drescher.
Oh my God! But who I loved Renee Taylor, who played her mother.
That
She
was
I love Renee Taylor.
did you know that she was on the Dick Van Dyke Show?
No, not at all.
Yeah, Fran Drescher was a very big fan of that show, and the neighbor, her name fails me, but Jerry Paris's wife on the Dick Van Dyke Show,
Okay.
his neighbor's wife, that's who Fran Drescher, that's her older now on The Nanny.
Oh my goodness. Okay. All right. I got it.
So
Very cool.
yeah,
Very
yeah.
cool.
I love how they bring back some of the real
Oh, God.
icons.
One of my favorites. I love when Carol Burnett does Norma Desmond.
That one I'm not too sure about.
Oh my God! And Harvey Korman plays Max.
Oh.
Oh, that's hysterical.
I-
It's a spin-off on remember Sunset Boulevard with Gloria Swanson?
Oh,
The
gosh.
okay, and then they made a musical about it, and everyone in their mother played. Patti LuPone played her. Glenn Close played her. I think Betty Buckley played her. I think even Raquel Welch played. I mean, everybody played but they did like a big takeoff, and it's just. I love that. I love when she does the pigeon lady with the cat glasses.
Oh,
and
gosh.
They teamed her up with Tim Conway's old man.
Yes.
Oh
yes.
God.
Oh well. I liked Mrs.
Mrs.
Wiggins
Wiggins and Mr. Tudball.
Yeah, Mrs. Tim Conway. I got to tell you something. That man is probably one of the most underrated television comedians. He used to, one of the big things on that show was that he would try to get them to laugh.
Oh, God. He always
would
got
do whatever
Harvey
he
Korman
could.
to laugh.
Harvey Korman was done. Every time that, he even just had to look at him.
Oh, I know.
And Harvey Korman that would be the end of him.
That was great.
And a fun fact, Harvey Korman was the voice of Gazoo on the Flintstones.
Oh my goodness. That's
Just a little piece of,
That's why every time I see
random stuff.
I watch the reruns of the Carol Burnett show every night because I love
Oh
it.
yeah, it's
Every
on.
time-
It's on Decades, right? Or,
and Buzzer TV. No, Me TV.
Me
Memorable
TV.
Entertainment, Channel
Okay.
3 if you have Verizon.
Yes.
Every time he walks on, I swear to God, I said, "There's Louie." Because
What?
you guys look alike. I'm sorry.
Oh no!
No,
I
that's
look
a
like,
compliment. That's
I look
a compliment.
like. She says I look like Tim
Now,
Conway.
you remind me more of Tim Conway.
Yeah, but I've got hair.
Okay, you have hair, but it's just really
All
funny.
right.
You guys are just. It's.
All right. Well, I guess as far as the comedy end of it,
Yes, it's the comedy
I
end.
consider it a compliment.
It is very much a
But
compliment.
if I, that's almost like saying he looks like,
Oh, stop, please.
All right.
It's a compliment.
All right. All right.
Listen.
Yes.
It's all going to be okay.
Okay. What else do we have going on?
Well, birthdays today. October 11th today?
Yes.
Okay. A very prominent lady. She was a class act. Okay, no.
I know who it is because you told me earlier.
Of course.
But
1884 today, October 11th. Eleanor Roosevelt was born today.
All right.
Yep. And let me see. What happened
Didn't
today?
they name an island after her?
Roosevelt Island?
No? Maybe somebody in her family, I would guess.
You want to tell us what happened on this day, October 11th?
Well, let's see what happened. Oh, that one's too long. The first American woman to walk in space.
Yep.
And what was her name? Catherine Dwyer Sullivan undertook a 3.5-hour-long spacewalk with fellow astronaut David Lestima while on the Space Shuttle Challenger.
Cool. And now we get to the fun one.
Oh, the very first episode of
Of?
Saturday Night Live. Live from Nyack, it's Talk of the Town.
It's Wednesday night.
It's Wednesday night here. And, oh, well, do I really have to describe what Saturday Night Live is about? I mean, it's like a television icon.
Oh, God.
I had the pleasure of meeting, of all of them, quite a few times actually, Bill
Nice.
Murray, because he's a
Doesn't he live
local.
around here?
He's a local resident in Sneeden's Landing, which is a little offshoot of Palisades. And I ran into him. I live in Palisades as well, but I live in the poor section of Palisades.
Is there a poor section in Palisades?
It's the poor section of Palisades. I didn't actually mean
He lives
that
in the
it
poor
is-
section
I
of
didn't actually mean
Palisades. Oh my
that we were
God.
poor, but it's not in the multi-million-dollar dwellings that occur when I drive over 9W
Okay.
from my.
So Bill Murray also lives in Palisades?
Pardon?
So Bill Murray lives there
Bill
too?
Murray lives in Palisades, and Ellen Burstyn lives in Palisades,
oh my
and
God.
Mikhail Baryshnikov lives in Palisades,
Oh, Ellen Burstyn.
and
Remember
Joe
her?
Piscopo used to live in Palisades because I met him at the post office once.
Oh, nice.
And
You ever see Ellen Burstyn, Ellen Alda, same time next year? One of my favorite
Ellen
movies.
Burstyn, her son used to play on my little league team.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and we got Chuck Barris used to live there. Mr. Gong Show.
Mr.
The Gong Show. Gene the Dancing Machine.
Oh, God.
He was the best.
Oh, he was awesome. I used to
He-
just watch the show for that.
He was the most productive produce farmer I had ever seen because every time he got up there, just lettuce and tomatoes and everything used to just fly right up onto the stage in front of him.
Good God. All right.
So what else do we have going?
Well, today in music, 1975, Bruce Springsteen scores his first hit with Born to Run.
Ooh, no. I remember that, yeah. How many times I sang that song thinking it was one thing he was singing, and then, you know, that feeling you get when you think you thought you knew the words to the song, and then you finally get,
Oh, please.
Oh.
I can't hear lyrics right at all.
no.
I've seen the movie Grease about 35 times, and every time John Travolta sings the last song, he's singing, I got chills, right? And I just learned that. For 35 years, I thought the frickin' man was singing, I've got shoes.
Yeah.
I couldn't understand
Oh, wait
how
a
the hell-
second. I thought he said he's not saying shoes.
I'm like, he's like, I got shoes, they're multiplying. I'm like, okay.
Well, why would chills?
hell?
That doesn't make any sense.
Because he sees her and she's hot. So he's got chills because he wants to jump her, whatever the hell his problem is.
I don't know. Well, let me tell you something. There's a lot of songs that I really thought I knew the lyrics to.
Oh, please.
And one of them especially, back in, I guess I was in high school, and one of the things that I used to do when I was a kid was, like, when we were kids, everything could have made the top 10 or whatever. You had instrumentals, you had country songs, you had a church song with a nun who actually sang the song.
Bring on
You
the
had
nuns.
all of these, and you even had some Latino songs. One that always comes to mind was this song called Eris 2. And The whole song was Spanish. Not, like like the Beatles, they would use a little French and Michelle and,
Oh, my father
and
would have
everything
known
like
what they
that.
said.
But, back then, anything was game as far as being on the charts. So this one song, Eres Tu, by a band called Mocidades, was a big hit on the AM radio back when I was like around 12, 13. And obviously, whenever you're listening to a song that you want to sing along with it,
Oh, geez.
So I knew zero Spanish. So I used to just make up my own Spanish words
You probably
while the
insulted
song was being
all of
played.
Honduras or something like
Oh,
that.
I don't know. I could have been singing about, your refrigerator has got an iron on the garage door. I don't know what I was just making up words. I did.
Good
It sounded Spanish to me, so that was it. And I'm not going to go and sing the song because we actually have a guest coming on later who I'm proud to say is my brother. And him and I actually talked about this same song that I'm talking about now. And we both basically had the same made-up song at the same time. I mean, this is how close we are.
Twins.
That, the words that I had made up for the song some of them were the same words that he made up for the song. And
Great minds think alike.
once we found out that was the case, we laughed until the sun came up. It was just that funny.
Oh, God.
So he'll be coming on a little bit later. He's like
talk
I
to us
said,
a little bit about-
he's my brother. I love him to death. He's a fine actor and he's an amazing musician.
And
His
vocalist.
voice, his guitar playing, he's acted with the best. He's sang with the best, and I'm proud to call him my brother. He'll be on in a little bit later.
Very nice.
So what else? What else is going
Well,
on?
one last thing. You might be interested, you might not, but I figured I'd just mention it for you diehard fans. Today, October 11th, in 1975, Bill and Hillary Clinton were married. And they're still married.
They're
So
still
y'all should be
married.
celebrating your anniversary, whether you hate each other or you like each other. Just do it.
I'm partial to that.
So.
Uh,
And a whole other bunch of stuff happened, but I don't want to get into all that dismal stuff.
no.
Wars and this, that. We got enough going on in this world.
Yeah, we got a little bit of local news, not much, but
ahead, talk to
just
me.
something that I saw today. Actually, I saw it today. I consider it news. When I come here, I take Route 340 and 9W, and as I pass my very old childhood hangout, which was the Spark Hill skating rink, they're using some of the property. The fire department, the Palisades Spark Hill Fire Department, is sponsoring a pumpkin sale.
Nice.
So they're my fire people, so please support them and go on out and get yourself a pumpkin. Get two, because if you've got kids in the neighborhood like we did, the first one won't last too long. So
missing or smash it.
they donate the money. They put it towards very good use. Not one specific charity. It goes to a bunch, and
that's
they're my fire department. And please support them, because if my house burns down,
You're screwed.
I'm screwed.
Speaking of pumpkins,
Yeah.
what did I do this week? Again, what do I do every week? And I come in.
This woman is probably one of the most amazing bakers. I'm sure cook also, but bakers for sure. I can totally vouch for that.
Well, when I get stressed out, I bake. So
Yeah.
and I bake and I bake
Oh,
and I
and
bake.
she bakes, boy. Well, I'll tell you, boy, does she bake. Yesterday, during our rehearsal, like we rehearsed everything we're talking about right now.
Sure.
We had some of this. We talked about stuff that we're not talking about right now.
But I brought in a couple.
But she
of
brought
things.
brought me in some cookies, and she brought me some cakes, and one of them was pumpkin.
Yes, it was a pumpkin chip cookie. I added a little bit extra stuff to the mix. I bought pumpkin chips, and then the basic recipe, like you would make chocolate chip cookies, only you add the pumpkin chips, and I put a little apple butter in there.
Yes, I
With
haven't
a little
had
bit
it
of
yet.
nutmeg. And I heard from sources who have tried it already that it's pretty good.
I'm sure it is.
I
had the
bake, but
banana.
I don't eat.
I had the banana cake today, and she snuck in some chocolate morsels on the
No,
top.
butterscotch.
Is that what they were?
Yeah, butterscotch.
Well, it was sugar. And it hit the spot, boy. I'll tell you.
Also, every time I'm trying to like lose a couple pounds and I diet, I bake. So I never
Yeah.
eat what I bake. I just bake and I just pawn it off.
She
on
bakes
other
and gives
people.
it away, and so we get fat instead. But I'm trying. I'm getting
But
there.
I'm trying to do something a little healthier. I promised last week I was supposed to give you all my recipe for my homemade matzo ball chicken soup. So this week I promised I would do it. So if anybody is interested, you could either call in or I could give it to you right here on the air. All right?
Yeah.
The key to chicken matzo ball soup is you have to have fresh ingredients. You can't just pour in consomme and a chicken and some whatever. You got to get fresh dill, fresh parsley, parsnips, turnips, onions, carrots, celery. Preferably if you can get organic so there's no pesticides and all that crap. But if you don't, you don't. I wash the veggies. I don't peel them because I feel that a lot of the vitamins are lost. You cut it all up. You take, depending on how big a pot you have, I usually take 2 small chickens or 1 really huge chicken with the skin on. And I use all the herbs and everything and what I just said, and I put the chicken in, and I add water till the pot is about half full, and I let the chicken and the herbs simmer and make the consomme like that. And then when the chicken is soft, that it's falling off the bone, I take the skin out, because you want a little bit of the fat from the chicken.
Right.
From the skin, because that adds to the flavor and the consomme. You can add a little like low sodium chicken broth to it if you want. That's your choice. And I usually add a little bit of garlic and some salt and pepper to taste. And I let that sit. If I start making it like 10 o'clock in the morning, by 5 in the afternoon, you really have to let it on a very low light simmer for like a good 6 hours. And then you make the matzo balls in a different pot, or you could make them in the same pot. Sometimes I do that. Matzo ball mix, you add the eggs. It usually says add 2 eggs to each mix. I add 3 eggs, but I don't add the third yolk. I add 2 eggs, and I separate, and I just put in the egg white from the third one. So it makes them a little larger, a little bit lighter, but still kind of like has a good consistency. I add some salt and pepper. If you like a little spice, sometimes you can add a little cayenne pepper, or you just add a little whatever, and you put it all together afterwards. And
It's brilliant. Seriously, I went through the largest size mason jar I think that they make in like 3 days.
Wow.
Yeah.
So
Well, I have
that's-
these nice big black bowls, so I was just like.
Cool. So, but I mean, the key is you can't. It's not a fast process, and you have to use fresh ingredients. You have to use fresh dill, fresh parsley, and things like that. And
Well, let me tell you, folks. There's no denying this.
And you can add noodles to it too. What I do is if I forget to buy whatever type of noodles you like, I just break up spaghetti so they turn into little consomme noodles.
Yeah. And folks, if you want this recipe, feel free to just send us a chat. We have a live chat going on right now.
A chat, not a check.
Not a chat.
A chat.
chat. Or just write to the station.
Yeah.
Rockland
you-
World Radio. 94, I think it is.
I think so.
94 Main Street in Nyack.
Yeah.
I have no idea what the zip code is. Just
Nyack is
you're going to have to do some of the
10960.
work. 10960.
Yeah.
All right.
And I got a bunch of other recipes for
Oh.
a carrot cranberry cake.
Oh gosh. I'm telling you, she
This
should
week
open
I'm
up her
making
own bakery.
bourbon brownies, and I'm making margarita cupcakes with a tequila lime frosting.
Yeah,
So
that's gonna.
I'm
That's.
trying
I'm sure
that.
that's. I'm sure that's gonna be horrible.
Oh yeah.
Well, I guess we're getting close to the fun part of the. Although this has been fun right now.
Yes.
The fun part where we have our special guest, and before we bring him on, we're gonna let you listen to one of the cuts off his CD called "Going Back." And we don't have it. This is what happens. This is coming to you live, not on film.
Well,
We
I'm
have
sure
something
we
from
have,
Big Jim Wheeler.
one of the CDs that are.
The voice in the back
We have
of
a
the
CD
studio
that
is
gentle-
trying to communicate with us.
That our special guest star today.
Do we have anything by Big Jim Wheeler here?
Of course we do.
Oh, voice in the back. Do we have Jim Wheeler here?
Anyway,
Yeah.
judging with that,
All we want to know is if we can play any of his songs.
I'd like to. Or maybe we take a short little intermission here.
Yeah, we'll take a little intermission.
Take a short little break,
I'll get up and dance.
okay? And we'll be back in a few.
Yes. Okay. Is the voice in the back hearing any of this? No, because he's
That's
in the
okay.
office.
You know what? That's okay. It's a good
That's
time
all right.
for me to mention about. Well, this is a great time to lead in about what I was talking about communications.
Okay.
Okay? It seems to me that yes, we're so technologically advanced, and everybody with their cell phones and their iPhones and their texting and their Snapchat and their this and their that and their Instagram and all that crap. Okay?
Right. It is crap.
We have forgotten actually how to have a conversation. A lot
Right.
of our youth today will not. They could be sitting next to each other. I was in a where was I? I was waiting for something, and there were two friends sitting right next to each other, texting each other.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I
They
know
don't even
someone-
talk.
I know. They can't even talk on the phone. A regular telephone. They can't
No.
actually. I know someone. She said she was actually. She can't. She can't talk to someone on the phone.
No.
It's too stressful.
You're kidding.
It's too no. It's easier to text.
Where were how did these people live all the way up to this point?
How did
I've
we
got-
survive without our cell phones when we were kids? We had that yellow wall phone where you had
Whoa.
a dial.
I
and
still
someone
have
was on-
I still have one of those.
I know. I have an old-fashioned 1950s phone where you actually you pick it up and you have to do all the thing
Yeah.
and we didn't know who was on the other end.
No.
And you know what?
If the phone rang at your house, it could be anybody.
Right, and you know what happened when we picked it up, not knowing who it was? We lived.
Yeah. Yeah.
We lived.
I've-
We got through it, and it was okay.
I've walked into restaurants and I've seen an entire family looking at their phone.
Oh, they just
And not
disengaged.
one
They don't
person. No. Not one person
person.
talking to each other or anything.
They're so busy, like because we live in a world of instant gratification. We
Yes.
have to here and now and yesterday and ASAP, and this has to be done. And the world is going to come to an end because I didn't talk to that person 5 seconds earlier.
Oh,
It's
no.
so stupid.
Life was so much better back when a lot of this technology just didn't exist. Even television. I mean, you had 7 channels.
Yes, you had Channel 2, Channel 4, Channel 5, Channel 7, Channel 9, 11, and 13, and that's it.
That's it.
And it
Now
was
I
a
have-
black and white TV on wheels, and you had to get up and change the channel, and you had rabbit ears.
I've got 400 channels and I can't. There's nothing
There's
on.
nothing-
There's
there's
nothing on
nothing
there
on.
I want to watch.
I know there's nothing.
Thank
There's not
God.
a damn thing.
Thank God for MeTV and Decades, because they're bringing back the old shows that were funny. They were funny. They were entertaining. They had some sort of a theme. Now like sitcoms are
Sitcoms are stupid now.
are just your average. What they try to portray as an average American family, and if this is an average American family,
We're in
folks,
trouble.
We're in deep trouble.
And
But
then you flip through the channels, and the stations that I absolutely can't stand, which I could care less about, are any of the sports channels, because I think they're all overpaid anyway. All these sports people. We should pay teachers more and sports figures less, but okay, fine. And we should pay our people in the military more.
yeah,
But, and all the Spanish stations. I don't speak Spanish. I don't speak anything, okay, except English.
I speak Spanish. You want to hear my version of Eris too?
Okay, and all these other stations. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Why am I paying for cable television for all these channels that I could care less about and I don't use?
Yeah.
But they get you. They have you by the short hairs because you have to pay for this package, and it's all in a package. You should be able to pick and choose whatever the hell you want, and that's what you pay for.
Yeah, well, just like
$200 a month
it's
for
ridiculous.
Verizon. What the heck is that?
It's very ridiculous. But you know something? Just like I wish that life was basically like the way it was back when I was a kid. Our next guest, his music brings you back to a happy time. Exactly, a happy time when music was
music.
Well, exactly. You had talented people. You had people that were actually singing the songs and not with, auto-tune and everything else that's out there now.
And it wasn't
and
about,
lip-syncing when they're doing a
live
show.
And drugs and rape and we're going to take this one down and we're going to go against that and rebel. Oh, my God.
Yeah, no. This guy, like I said, I'm not being too prejudiced because he's my brother, but I got to tell you something that this music is... Well, it's on the countryside, so it's exactly what kind of music you want to hear. When somebody says, "I'm going to play you a country song," you want to hear this. You don't want to hear Shania Twain in a cowboy hat with
a G-string.
With a G-string. Not that
whatever.
Not that I don't mind watching it, but this is not.
I do.
This is not my image of country music.
No. Well,
my image is. A woman with a big hairdo, usually red hair for some reason. Red hair on a country girl.
You've been Rebanized.
Yes, yeah.
She's a nice lady.
Yeah. So, anyway, before I get really into that, we could do a whole show as far as that's concerned.
Let's hear some of this.
Let's hear some music from Big Jim Wheeler, and my engineer in the back, I believe, has probably got something ready to go. So we're going to listen to Big Bad John, the Jimmy Dean song that actually he's got a story to tell you about that song. I'll save it for him. But anyway, here we go with Big Bad John from Big Jim Wheeler and Wheels of Fire.
Every morning at the mine, you'd see him arrive. He stood 6'6" and weighed 245, a kind of broad at the shoulder and narrow at the hip. Everybody knew you didn't give no lip to Big John. Nobody seemed to know where John called home. He just drifted into town, stayed all alone. He didn't say much, he's kind of quiet and shy, but if you spoke at all, you just said hi to Big John. Somebody said he came from New Orleans, where he got in a fight over a Cajun queen. A crashing blow from a huge right hand sent a Louisiana fella to the promised land. Big John. Big John, Big John. Big Bad John. Big John. Then came that day at the bottom of the mine when a timber cracked. Then started crying, the miners were praying, hearts beat fast. Everybody thought they'd breathe their last except John. Through the dust and the smoke of that man-made hell walked a giant of a man that the miners knew well. He grabbed that sagging timber and gave out with a groan like a giant oak tree just stood there alone. Big John. Big John, Big John. Big Bad John. Then with all of his strength he gave a mighty shove, and a miner yelled out, "There's a light up above!" What he meant, scramble from a would-be grave. Now there's only one left down there to save, Big John. With Jackson Timbers they started back down, but came that rumble way down in the ground. Smoke and gas belched out of that mine. Everybody knew it was the end of the line for Big John. Big John, Big John, Big Bad John. Now How they never reopened that worthless pit. They just placed a marble stand in front of it. These few words are written on that stand. At the bottom of this mine lies a big, big man. Big John.
Big John, Big John,
Big Bad John.
Big John, Big John, Big
Big Bad John.
There we go.
And you're on.
All right, welcome back, folks. As I had mentioned before, that last song was by my brother sitting right here next to me, Big Jim Wheeler. That was Big Bad John, originally done by Jimmy Dean. Jim, it's great to have you on.
Welcome
Yeah,
to
it's
the
great
show.
it's great to be here.
Welcome.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for being here.
Oh man, I've been listening to the show and it's excellent.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Well, this is also sort of like a payback because this guy right here is the host of another radio show, which I can't mention because he's not on our station. But anyway, he's got a great show, and they talk about movies and everything like that. And he's the best guy out on the planet.
All right. Well, now that everybody knows I'm the best guy on the planet, let me introduce you to the real best guy. No, seriously though, it's very nice to be here. You guys got a really good show going for you, and really informative. I'll be a weekly listener for sure.
Excellent,
Great.
Excellent. Well, the more the merrier.
Yeah, I'll
and
spread
we're
the
building
word.
it up.
I'll spread the word. We'll get everybody in Rockland to listen.
Yeah. So the name of that song is Big Bad John by Jimmy Dean. You have a
Right.
very interesting story to tell about that. By the way, before I let you, I have a little Jimmy Dean experience too. My cousin married his son.
Right.
So, all right, now it's Big Jim's turn.
Okay. Well, yeah, that was written by Jimmy Dean, and it saved his career. He was his career in the late '50s was on the downslide, and he was on an airplane heading home, and he figured he just had it with show business. But while he was on the plane, he wrote this song, and it was because he was thinking about one of the guys who worked the lights on his show back in the 50s. His name was John. He was 6'6", and he was really, big dude. So he wrote a song with that guy in mind, and he decided to record it. Of course, it hit number one, and it revived his career. It brought it really back strong. Well, when I was a little kid, that was kind of like my favorite song. And I wore the record out. I just wore every groove out of that thing completely. And so what I did is, when I got a band many, many years later, I always figured if I was going to cover a song, because we have a lot of our originals, and I always figured if I covered a song, that would be one of them I wanted to cover.
Uh-huh.
So we did, and it's on our CD, Big Jim Wheeler, Wheels of Fire Going Back. Everybody can see
Yeah,
that.
there it is. And boy, oh boy, I've worn the grooves out of that CD, that's for sure.
Well, I appreciate that. We recorded, we put that on, and, it was an awful lot of fun doing it, and recording it. But one day, I was fixing to get into the shower, and the phone rang, and I figured, well, I'll let the answering machine get it. But then just before that, something told me answer this phone. So I answered it, and this woman's on there, and she says, "Do you have a few minutes? I'm looking for Big Jim Wheeler." And I said, "That's me." And she said, "Do you have a couple of seconds to wait for Jimmy Dean?" And I couldn't believe what she just said.
Were you scared or were you excited?
Well, no, I was just.
I'm screwed now.
I was just taken aback. I just didn't know what to think. I figured maybe he's gonna sue us or something. Anyway, he comes on the phone. I said, "Sure, of course," And 2 seconds later, he comes on, and it's him, and I hear my song playing in the background. And he said, I had to call you, Jim. I had to call you up and let you know that this version is my favorite version of this song. I've heard other people do it. Johnny Cash did it. And he said, I like that. But he said, I thought this was the best version of that song I'd ever heard.
Wow.
Whew.
Coming from Jimmy Dean himself.
And so that was one of my big moments in show business right there,
Yeah.
was getting that. But then he sent me his card, Jimmy Dean sausages,
Okay. I was
But
wondering.
on the back, he wrote, "To Big Jim, thanks for keeping Big Bad John alive. Love you, Jimmy Dean."
Wow.
So I carry that in my wallet, and
Well, that's one name in stardom that's related to that CD, but you actually have two extremely famous and renowned musicians on there as well.
Right. Yes, we have Buddy Baxter, who played the pedal steel for us, and he was, he's very, very popular in a lot of bands, but he played with Bob Dylan for the past 20 years.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And we have him on the CD. But what happened, the way this whole thing got started was, I went to see a real legend of the music business, not just the country music business, but music is itself. This guy had played with everybody from Bill Monroe in bluegrass to Hank Williams in country. He played with Little Jimmy Dickens. He played classical music with Stephen Grappelli. He played big band music with Artie Shaw. He played rock music with the Grateful Dead. His name is Vassar Clemens. And he, like I said, he's been for many, many, many years a legendary musician. So I went to see him, and I had a Polaroid with me. And I thought, maybe I'd get a picture with this guy, and he'll autograph it because it's a Polaroid. So I went to see him. And the place was jam-packed. There had to be 400 people easily just packed into this place like sardines. So what I did is I positioned myself, fought my way through the crowd, and I positioned myself right up against the dressing room door so that he would have to go through me to get into that dressing room. So he comes
I
through
don't
the
think anyone
crowd.
could get
And let me
you.
tell you something. This man has lost a considerable amount of weight, but
Oh, yeah. At the
there
time
was a time when if he was standing in front of a door, you just weren't getting through.
Yeah, seriously.
I was talking about his height. I wasn't talking about
Well, that too, but...
me being 5 feet tall and you being like,
Oh well, everybody's tall to you.
well, yeah. So.
But he fought his way through the crowd. He come up and I said, Mr. Clemens, it's a real honor to meet you and to see you perform. Could I get a picture with you? So he said, he looked at me and he said, I want to talk to you in the dressing room. And I thought, again, I was in trouble. So,
What you do now, Jim?
yeah, that's what I was wondering. What did I do, So I go in the dressing room, and he puts his fiddle down. He said, there's easily 400 or more people out there, and they're screaming and yelling. But I hear one voice overall, and he said, that voice is coming from you. He said, I hear it now. So he said, do you sing professionally? And I said, no. And he said, well, I tell you what. He said, I'm going to give you an offer I've never given anybody before in my life. He said, because I have this voice telling me this in my ear. He said, if you do anything professionally, I will put my fiddle on anything that you do, and I will do it for free.
Wow.
So with that, we went right away. I got a band together.
Hey, you,
Yeah.
come over here, join this band.
Well, the guys I got together, and you know
Yeah.
them well. I mean, you know them almost as long as I do. I mean, I've known these guys now for over 40 years, and they have backed up the likes of Carl Perkins, Luther Allison, Buddy Guy, B.B. King. So they all said, well, let's get a band behind you, Jim. So they all, I was very fortunate to get these guys, considering who they've backed up in the past.
Yeah, and who are they?
Well, there's the Ruse brothers, Billy Ruse and Muddy Ruse, Stephen Muddy Ruse. That's my lead guitarist and my stand-up bass and harp player. Right now we have Mike Corbin, but back in at that time we had Ron Freitag on rhythm guitar, And now we have Bill Rankin on drums, but at the time we had Joe Geary, who now backs up Danny Aiello on his nightclub tour.
Yeah. Who we've
And
seen.
he's also his stage manager. And yeah, we've known Dan. We've met Danny Aiello many times. So with that, we wrote up a bunch of songs. We got a couple, like I said, that we wanted to do as covers. We went to Nashville and we got the album done. Vassar showed up and worked like a dog. He really did. I mean, he put in every single second of time. He didn't take a break. When our engineer kept telling him, we got enough on this song, let's move on to the next song, he would say, no, I want to listen to it, I can do better, go out there, and he kept working on it. So we were very fortunate. We have those two on our album. And I like the album. I mean, not just I think it's a well done, well written album.
Well,
Very,
let me tell you,
it's well performed by the musicians. I don't know much about my performance, but those guys can't do wrong.
Well, from a listener's point of view, and again, not because you're my brother, and not because I've known these guys that are playing with you for 2/3 of my life, it is fantastic. It really is. You can find it on CD Baby, and you could probably download it on iTunes as well. Like I said, it's Big Jim Wheeler and Wheels of Fire. The name of the CD is called Going Back. And
now we also have another band. I also have another band, which is the same guys. It's the same guys. But we do a Johnny Cash tribute, and we call ourselves the Band in Black when we do that. And as a matter of fact, I do have something coming up in January at the Turning Point in Piermont. But before that, at the Turning Point this Sunday.
Yeah. Oh, you're going to be there?
I'll be guest vocalist with Gary Solomon on his solo gig.
Right. It's called Solomon Does Dylan.
Right. He's doing all the songs of Bob Dylan, so I will be I'll be a guest soloist on his gig this Sunday.
What time does that start?
That's Sunday
That's
at 4 o'clock.
4 o'clock at the Turning Point.
I'll be there.
Okay. Then there's then we have 3 Last Waltz gigs coming up where I do the Ronnie Hawkins part, doing Who Do You Love?
Right. Oh, in case you weren't aware, Gary Solomon, who is going to do the Dylan show, is the bass player in a band that is a tribute to the band,
Right.
called the Band Band.
That's right.
Amazing group of fellas, and again, I know these guys
Right. Now, last year...
2/3 of my life. They're amazing musicians. They do a show that is just stellar. And now they're doing, they do a recreation of The Last Waltz, which
Right. And
Jim is in.
now, last year we did that, and we went to Long Island, Pennsylvania, Massachusetts. We went all over with it.
Ah, you toured it.
And we sold out even the standing room in every single place we played. And these guys don't play just these little venues. They play these great big opera houses and pack the place.
Yeah.
So we got 3 of those coming up.
And who do you, what song or songs do you sing during that show?
Well, I do Who Do You Love, the Ronnie Hawkins tune.
Uh-huh.
And,
Oh, okay.
And we all come out at the end to do the final song, which is I Shall Be Released.
Ah. Yeah.
And
Which I'm sure Gary will do at the Turning Point this coming Sunday.
I'm sure of that.
He does
yeah.
a phenomenal version of that.
He
boy.
does.
I'll tell you, he hits those notes just right on the money.
He's an incredible performer.
It's
There's no
one of the
question
songs
about
that I look forward to more than anything else when I see one of their shows.
it. But we have 3 of those gigs coming up now. One is in Long Island. That'll be at the Bolton Center. That's October, I believe, 21st. Then we have one on November 18th, which will be the Montauk Opera House in Pennsylvania. And we have another one coming up after that, the day after Thanksgiving, which is the 24th of November. And that'll be in Long Island, not Long Island, Pauling, New York.
Oh, at Daryl's house. Daryl's house. Daryl
yeah.
Hall.
That's right, Daryl Hall would be at his place.
And then on January 12th, I will be at the Turning Point with my band, the Band in Black, to do a Johnny Cash tribute. And I believe January 20th, we will be also in Rhode Island.
Well, that pretty much covers a lot of. You got a pretty busy schedule coming up.
Yeah.
The band can be found on Facebook
Right.
and bandband.com, thebandband.com.
Yes.
And you can check out all of their upcoming shows and get a couple of shots of the members and little bios of who's in the band. And
They can also go to the Band in Black page on Facebook.
and Gary actually has played with Rick Danko
Yes.
at the Turning Point.
At the Turning Point.
So, let me tell you something. I am so fortunate to be exposed and actually work with a lot of the local bands that are in this area.
Well, let me also say that, you don't go without having a little amount of talent yourself, pal. Let me tell you about this guy. The Medici's restaurant. Every Thursday night we used to be there, and he would sing, backed up by the one and only John Coliani, who backed up people like Peggy Lee and Mel Torme.
Yeah, I'll always remember that very first night that I sang
Well,
at
there
the
was little
Medici's.
jitters there that first night for you, but you got over
gonna
that.
be okay.
I
It's
got
gonna
through
be
it.
okay.
I got through it. And
You're gonna be okay.
And not only that, but you were on the set making a movie with Catherine Zeta-Jones. You did Law and Order, SVU, Law and Order. I can see you on the screen right there next to Mariska Hargitay in that one episode.
yeah, 800 pounds ago.
Yeah, but you looked like the mobster you were supposed to be playing. I mean, and you fit the part. So I mean, you don't go without doing things yourself here, and you over there too. I mean, how many plays have you been in? You played Trixie to my Ralph Cramden in the Honeymooners.
Oh, that was fun.
Yeah.
That was a lot of
Yeah.
fun.
That we got to do more of. That was so much fun. I never
Yeah.
had that much fun playing in any role.
Well, that's one of the great things about being exposed to the Nyack Village Theater, where this show is being shot live. Richard Quinn, who runs the Nyack Village Theater, Modern
producer,
Metro
our
Radio,
mentor.
our producer, our savior, our Lord and Savior, and an
Happens to be-
amazing, talented human being.
And happens to
in
be
his
one
own
of
right.
the nicest
Yes.
people on the face of the earth.
I was here 2 weeks and we became instant great friends. That's all it took. And it probably would have happened a lot earlier, but, I was smitten with the imagination of all of this exposure to a great place with great people. And it was the first time I met you. And, I already knew you.
Yeah, you know me for a long time.
But, the place has just got so,
There's a
got
lot of
so
love
much
around here.
talent and love. Yeah, you're right. I've been to quite a few performances here before I got myself actually involved in this corporation or this company, this company that we have
God,
here.
don't say corporation.
No, I'm calling it a company because that's what we do.
Oh,
It's a club.
It's a club. That's
we
it.
open in Venice. We next
Yes.
make our own.
And I was happy to actually be in one of them. Oh, I've only been in one performance here so far. and
Well, you got to do more.
yeah.
I
you gotta
will
do
be
more.
doing more. We got something coming up. I'll be reading a little bit later on after the show is over.
True.
And we're gonna sneak Richard in here real quick. But right now, Jim, we're gonna have to say get out of here because we got more guests coming up. But we do have one more song, I believe. We're gonna close out with this segment. I think the magical voice in the back is going to let us know what song it's going to be. Right now, I can't tell you because I don't even know if he's back there. I think he is.
Jim's going to stay there because we have the song "The Sun." Something.
Oh, Dark Side of the
no,
Sun.
no,
The
no,
one
no.
with Billy.
Yeah.
Oh, A Man Called Sam. Oh,
Man Called Sam.
dedicated to Sam Phillips
Right.
of Sun Records. So
But
I.
listen, I wanted to tell you guys.
Oh, there he is now, our Lord and Savior.
I wanted to tell you. Have I been here? I wanted to tell you that this weekend on Friday night, not only will Cynthia be reading for the Edgar Allan Poe poems.
Yes, that's going to be an exciting night.
There's a whole wide list of
Fun stuff.
people that are going to be reading Edgar Allan Poe poems.
Yes.
You see, David A. Sutherland Jr., Genevieve Rossi, who is the Scream Queen. We have David Biedny reading. We have Mark Mangan, Laura Rothschild. We have, excuse me.
Rochelle Caps.
Yes, Rochelle Kepps reading The Bells.
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 I was here for the
bells,
rehearsal
bells,
yesterday.
bells,
and
more bells.
Folks, let me tell you something. This is really going to be a great show.
Edgar Allan Poe is such a
Yeah.
wonderful, deep, tragic, romantic writer.
It's
He was a hot mess, but we love him.
It's a hot mess.
some of the stuff. It really like I'm listening to it and I'm like, this is like when you listen everything that he does, everything that I was listening to, I put myself into that mood, into that. I felt who they were.
Dark.
I felt myself.
No electricity. Gothic.
No. Very, very candles.
Yeah.
Everything acoustic.
And mythological. too.
Yeah,
Lots
no.
of myth. He used myth and
Yeah.
history in his writings.
Yeah.
Fascinating time.
Oh.
Well, I just wanted to tell you that we're doing 2 readings. Friday the 13th.
Yeah.
Not only that, but afterwards, if you come to the readings, we're going to play a version of The Exorcist director's cut you haven't seen before. It's the scariest film of all time. The Exorcist, right here after Edgar Allan Poe, Friday the 13th. You don't get more October than
Yeah.
that.
And if you show
yeah.
up, you'll be having some of my baked goods. I'm gonna be baking.
And you'll get to see my co-host dressed up in leather.
Yeah. And string.
Woohoo!
and things.
Rawhide.
Now I'm coming.
All right,
Yeah.
I have to leave now.
Oh, okay, well-
The Raven needs a flight. He has
Right,
to
right,
relieve
right.
himself.
Oh, okay. Yeah, well,
Well,
better
right
off
there.
on your shoulder than
Yeah,
mine.
better yours than mine.
Thank you.
Goodbye, Ravella.
Oh boy,
He's
oh
now
boy.
turned Yiddish.
Yeah, folks. You really, like I said, I was here for the rehearsal yesterday, and damn, this is going to be one heck of a show. It really had me. It had me a little creeped.
And I think I almost know how to pronounce every single word.
Oh, you were fantastic. This woman is going to be reading tomorrow, Friday the 13th, 2 nights from tonight.
Yes.
I was listening, and she's gorgeous and everything
Oh,
like that, and I
Jesus.
figured that she probably has no talent whatsoever. She just, gets by with her looks. But no, this woman.
Then
is,
we're all in trouble.
This no,
God.
this woman is seriously an amazing actress, and
Well, thank
and
you.
just listening to her read, I was. It was great.
Before you guys were talking about Steve McQueen, he was 28.
28 years old when he
28?
did
Wow.
it.
And
He played an
played
17, 18-year-old.
He was supposed to be 17. They even gave his age in the Blob, 17.
Wow.
He was 28, but he went one better than that. In the mid-60s, late 60s, I believe it was 66.
I was a year old.
He played in the prequel to the movie The Carpetbaggers, which was a novel written by Harold Robbins.
Okay.
And he played the role of Nevada Smith in the opening of that. Now, this, again, was made 10 years after The Blob. And
So he was in his
played,
30s.
right. He was playing a kid in his 17 years old.
Wow. That reminds me of Coal Miner's Daughter when Sissy Spacek played a 13-year-old.
Yeah.
Because, she looks like she's 12 anyway.
Well, I'm 4.
Well, yeah, but I mean, Steve McQueen did not look that age at all.
I feel I've been told that I'm a child.
Yes,
Go
dear.
figure.
Somebody
Yes,
said
dear.
you looked like Harry Von Zell.
I know who you're talking about.
Yes.
I
Somebody
don't
once
know who the hell
told
Harry
me.
Von Zell is.
Harry
but
Von.
okay.
Really?
Yeah, George Burns and
George
Gracie
Burns
Allen
is
show.
he was the announcer.
Yeah.
I knew that.
Somebody once told me that you look like Harry Bonzel.
Wow. Well, you know
Anyway.
something, darling? I
It's about that time.
I hate to bring it up, but I've been having so much fun that I wish we could go for another hour, but we can't because I have things to do.
I know.
So anyway, are we going to listen to any more music by Big Jim Wheeler? All right. So, folks, I think it's The Man Called Sam, right?
It's A Man Called Sam by the Ruse Brothers.
It's the Sun something on that single CD you gave me.
Yeah, it's called A Man Called Sam.
Yeah, it's Sun Records.
Right.
That's all right, folks. We're
Have another swig.
yeah, we've been drinking and doing a
Have
lot of
another
illegal
swig.
drugs here tonight, so we're all right. So we're going to close the show with A Man Called Sam, written by Billy Ruse, sung by
And-
Big Jim Wheeler.
Yep. No,
And-
it's actually sung by them. I join in.
Oh, that's how it works.
That's how it works.
Oh,
yes.
boy,
we,
you
we
mean
all
I-
do this together.
Oh boy,
It's
oh
like
boy.
the Brady Bunch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Yes.
Exactly like the Brady Bunch.
We're just like the Brady Bunch.
Well, thanks, folks, for tuning in another week. And as long as you keep listening, we'll keep talking.
Unless you tell us to shut
And
up.
and if you're not listening, we're going to keep talking anyway. So we're going to close the show out with a song called "A Man Called Sam" by Big Jim Wheeler and Wheels of Fire. And once again, thanks for listening. And on behalf of me and who are you?
Cynthia Hoover Paoli.
Oh, thanks for listening. Take care.
Take care. Godspeed. God bless.
God.
It was a man called Sam. It was a man called Sam. Down in Memphis, that's where it had begun. And it got going in 1951. At 706 Union, he was the man behind the sun.
Sun Records, that is, home of country, rockabilly, and down-home blues.
It was a man called Sam. Sam Phillips was his name. Brought many a country boy to fortune and to fame. Gospel, blues, and country, boogie and western swing. But the sun's sound was rockabilly, and Sam crowned the king. It was a man called Sam. It was a man called Sam. Down in Memphis in 1954. That's all right, mama. Sure opened up the door. And with Sam at the helm, there would be a whole lot more.
Elvis, Jerry Lee, Carl Perkins, and Johnny Cash. They all feasted at the Sun Records Bash.
Was a man called Sam. Sam Phillips was the one. Rain falls of fire, whole lot of shaking going on. Got them blue suede shoes, really looking fine. Got the man in black to sing.
I walk the
It
line.
was a man called Sam. It was a man called Sam. Down in Memphis, the soul of man never dies. Sam Phillips said it, and you know that he was right. We record anything, anywhere, anytime. It was a man called Sam. It was a man called Sam.
Yeah, that's how it all began.
Man called Sam.
With Sun Records
It was a man
and
called
a band called Sam.
It was a man called Sam. It was a man called Sam. It was a man called Sam. It was a man called Sam.
It's not just radio, it's Rockland World Radio. RocklandWorldRadio.com.